Hello, good morning, and welcome to the O'Rourke Report. Got a couple of things to go over. Just going to be very light on the Bravo, and I want to talk about some good shows that are out there that if you're not watching, I hope you do watch because, like I said, it's pretty good. Okay, where are we going here? Last time we met, I spoke about the new selling show added to the selling franchise, like selling Sunset, selling OCs, selling the Hamptons. This new one is selling the city. Did binge it as I knew I would. And while it is the same quality of all the other selling, fast paced, accompanied by a constant beat of some music, which to me all sounds the same. I thought it was all the same group, except in the show they actually, if you use subtitles, which I do on a lot of stuff, they're different groups, but they all sound the same. They all saying the same message. They're strutting, they're doing, they're being, and everybody better watch out. Okay, thank you. Okay, so anyway, I watched the whole thing, and unlike Selling the Hamptons, which I loved, this one, instead of concentrating, which the Hamptons does, on who's doing business, I mean, really, the back office politics was who was closing deals. This show, this new one, Selling the City, has nothing to do with closing deals. What it has everything to do with is how difficult it is to have a bunch of women working together if you're all alphas. And these women are alphas. They're in the top of their game. They're working for one of the absolute top brokerages in the world, and with extremely successful people, salespeople who are thrilled by the close, getting the job done. Well, there's not so much of concentration on that. What there's concentration on is there is a female, this Eleonora, who had a fantastic deal earlier in the year where it was $75 million deal, which enabled her to get a team. And she now has a team. And the goal of reporting up to Eleonora's, and I'm sure there's kind of like a pyramid, whatever you sell, she gets cut, whatever. I forgot what was I going to say. Hold on a second. I know I have this written down. Hold on. Okay. So this Eleonora has four people on her team that get the advantage of being introduced to maybe a level of property or client that they'd heretofore had not been, it wasn't on their resume because they didn't have the experience that this Eleonora has. The one thing I will say about Eleonora is she is very much a shark in that she is constantly looking to um, have something happen. She knows she's got to live up to the $75 million deal. She doesn't want people calling her a one deal wonder. And there's a lot of infighting with the women over stupid stuff that women infight over. In other words, it's not about the business. It's not about closing deals, which the Hampton thing was. When they were fighting, it was because this one was beating that one in sales. I mean, they don't even concentrate on that any. And the outfits are, as I say, completely ridiculous. If I have said this before, if I was a buyer and I had someone come into, show me a property teetering on stupid high heels with kind of a slutty look, I mean, they were not, it wouldn't inspire any confidence in me. And I wouldn't want to deal with him, actually. I would want Steve Gold as being being my broker. So anyway, while it's still very good and it's glitzy and it's very much like the Sunset, where these girls don't even pretend to be accomplished sellers and closers, and it's a lot of infighting amongst the women. Okay, let's see if that changes up. Okay, bungo, enough of that stuff. Let's go on to Married to Medicine, which yeah, the girls are all at some sort of dude ranch. There is a fight between Contessa, who I question why she's back. I thought that she was, I worried about her when she was on before. I worried, not her mental health. I don't want to infer that she was crazy, because she wasn't crazy. But the stress was weighed very, very heavy on her. And I thought there may be, from what we were seeing on the screen, there may be marital issues. And I think that's still the case. But she's come back loaded for bear, and she's decided that she's going to take on Heavenly. Now, Heavenly is, I think, acknowledged by the whole cast that Heavenly has, because of her childhood, because of whatever trauma she went through as a kid and growing up, and self-esteem issues. When things are good, things are very, very good. But then when things were bad, they're hard. And she's got a very sharp tongue, she says, very cutting, cruel, cruel things. And you know, juxtapose that against her husband, who is inarguably one of the nicest cast members on any show. She's a project. She's a project. The lesson you learn with Heavenly is don't engage. Don't engage with Heavenly, because she cannot control herself, and she cannot control the vitriol that comes out of her mouth. So in a way, you have to be the adult with Heavenly. You have to do it the way Jackie does it, the way Simone does it. And Countessa is not able to do that, and thinks she's justified because what Heavenly says is so offensive. Contessa thinks she's justified in getting physical. I mean, we don't see physical confrontations on this show, but Contessa got herself all riled up to the point that she actually knocked Jackie over while she was charging Heavenly. Knocked Jackie over on the ground. So anyway, the adults in the room try to resolve that situation, but I don't think it's resolvable. I think you can only have one Heavenly on that cast, and that you can't have a Heavenly and a Contessa. You either accept Heavenly who she is and all her damage and all the stuff that comes out of her mouth, and when it does come out of her mouth, you sit her down and you reason with her, which works very well with Heavenly. She's able to pull herself out of a tailspin and look at what she's just done or said, and she tries to make amends. I don't think you can have a Contessa and Heavenly on the same show. So, and again, we see the husbands on this show try to resolve the situation, because now the conflict between Heavenly and the things that she says are affecting other people, other husbands and wives, and you can either work with her or not. So everyone has one. And yeah, I have here the overall solution in my mind is everyone, and I mean everyone, has to allow for Heavenly's bad behavior. You don't take offense to it. You allow it, let it calm down, and sit down and reason with her, because I don't think she's one that's going to be able to self-regulate, or she can't self. I think the hurt is so deep in what happened to her as a child that she's not able to self-regulate. Maybe one day, but she's not there now. As one of them said, I think it was Dr. Simone. No, it wasn't Dr. Simone. I think it was Phaedra. We are now in post volcano mode, and the lava is cooling. Now let's sit down and talk, which is basically what you have to do with them. So anyway, Contessa still, I don't know why she was brought back, unless she was brought back to fight with Heavenly. Um, I don't see, it's just, ugh. Which now means we go on to Potomac. And the only thing I'm going to say in Potomac, I've said this, I think, pretty consistently over the last 2 years. Potomac is low rent, and a lot of low rent things happen. And the lowest rent thing happening right now is Mia. And someone like Mia doesn't have the skill set to handle the scrutiny that she's under, and scrutiny for choices that she makes in her life, some very bad choices. She is she's got a different background than the others, and she's hard to watch. It's hard to see this struggle, and frankly, not why I watch The Housewives. I don't watch The Housewives to see this type of struggle. So Potomac is Potomac. Okay, now let's go on to recommend some things that I like and that I watch, and hopefully you will want to watch them too. I don't know if you watch it or not. RuPaul's Drag Race, adult entertainment. Yes, I mean the whole drag scene is under a lot of scrutiny. People want to ban it in the South. That's bullshit. I mean, excuse my French. You can have adult entertainment. We've had adult entertainment forever. RuPaul's and this drag show is adult entertainment, and it's a ton of fun. These are uber talented men who call themselves girls and ladies and the whole woo hoop and holler and the whole thing. But they are super talented. It's a lot of fun when you see some of the comedy that they do. It's hysterical. I recommend it highly. It's a lot of fun. It's just not kid appropriate. Sorry. Deal with it. Wham, wham. All right, now let's go on to Apple TV. Now, Apple TV, all of these streaming services that we subscribe to on an individual basis will go through this period of, Jesus, there's nothing I want to watch on this thing for the past 6 months. I'm going to get rid of it, which was kind of very much the way Apple was, but is slowly but surely pacing their really good dramas and comedies and rolling them out. One ends kind of like the way HBO does it. One ends like Dune, the Prophecy. Now that's usually not my cup of tea, but wow, great. If you haven't watched it, and you're familiar with the Dune franchise, you absolutely have to watch it because it's so good. And even if you're not familiar with the Dune franchise, you don't have to be, except for a couple of very broad strokes that you should know if you're going to enter into that world. The acting is superb. The writing is superb. There's just, and one of my favorite male actors, I think I've mentioned this before, Mark Cross, who I loved. I mean, I saw him, what did I see him in? Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. He played Jim Prudhomme, and the one George Smiley goes to talk about an incident that happened before he retired from the service. So anyway, great looking guy. He's a little older now, but still very handsome. He's in it. A lot of great acting. Recommended highly. Dune Prophecy. Now let's go over to Apple TV. Apple TV, Bad Sisters. If you haven't watched Bad Sisters, it's 2 seasons are complete now. You can binge them. It's great. It is set in Dublin, and sometimes some people deserve to be killed. That's all I need to say. That's all you need to know. And so it's a lot of fun to watch. Silo is currently running, its season 2 is currently running. Well acted, well written, a lot of great stuff going on there. Dystopian world. people are relegated to live underground because there's been some sort of nuclear, and we don't know what it is that happened above ground. We just know that the atmosphere has been poisoned above ground, and the only way for man to survive is to live in this silo. That's all I will say. If you haven't seen season one, watch season one. Season two should be complete in a couple of weeks because Severance is coming back. If you guys haven't watched Severance, even if you've tried, I have some friends that tried to watch it and they said they just couldn't get into it. Just get past that first episode. The first episode's not bad. It's just setting the stage of what's going on. It sets the stage, but by episodes 2 and 3, you're like, oh my God, you know, you're very much invested in the four characters that work in this building. And then you have, hold on, I have a little dry throat here. Thank you. Then you have some auxiliary characters. Christopher Walken just knocks it out of the park. Um, and there's a couple who was so good. Who is that? Oh, you know who she is. She played Medium. She's one of the Arquettes. I forget what her first name is. Oh, she's great. It's all great. And then the reveal on the last episode of season one, I'm going to tell you, is jaw dropping. You say, holy shit, I didn't even see that one coming. And now season two is about to arrive. So do yourself a favor. Binge Severance season one and get ready for season two, which is coming up. Okay, we got the Traders coming back. Looks like we have the usual band of reality show villains and interesting characters. And this was one that a friend of mine recommended. Absolutely never would be my cup of tea, and I ended up binging all 3 seasons and just absolutely loving it. If you guys are familiar with Jeremy Clarkson, who is a British media personality, I think the name of the show, you probably see it, you might have seen it on PBS, called Top Gear. It's all about, I think he's a journalist. I think he reviews the automotive trade. So anyway, this guy's 6'5", big guy, big plummy BBC accent. He's decided he wants to farm. He wants to farm in the Cotswolds. So he buys a farm in the Cotswolds. And all 3 seasons follow his adventure trying to get this farm up and running. And it's just, I don't know who writes his dialogue. He may very well write it because he's a talented journalist. And it is just so good. I have a friend of mine whose father, I guess, grew up in Europe and was a farmer in Europe. I think they're Portuguese. And he battled me against this show. He goes, oh God, I'm not going to watch that show. Well, he ended up liking it, and he said his father loved it because it reminded him so much of what he did growing up. So it's just plain good. Clarkson's Farm. I watched it on Prime. I don't know if you can find it other places, but that's where I saw it. And I don't know what phrases. Oh, yeah. I'm going to make a list of these. These are phrases I never want to hear come out of a cast member's mouth. And the one that really brought it home for me was this new Selling the City. I mean, phrases like amazing or epic or I live. Any of those? Let's retire them all. I'm going to make a whole list of them, and let's hope we never have to hear them again. Okay, bam. Oh gosh, yes. Ooh, what time do we have? Yeah, real quick. No. I'll do that with our next one. Okay, good. All right, that's all we have for today, my friends. Thank you so much for dropping by. I so appreciate it. If you like what you're seeing and you want this to show up in your YouTube feed, please hit the subscribe button. Beep, 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 beep. Hit that subscribe button. Don't cost a thing. And what it'll do is make sure that you won't miss another episode of the Scintillating O'Rourke Report. And of course, if you like what you saw, hit the little like button. Beep. Just hit that little beep. Just it doesn't cost anything, but it helps me out with my YouTubian overlords. So thank you so much, and I will see you later this week.